Hi, this is Chris Hickman from Decision First Technologies. In this video, I'm going to show you the features of SAP BusinessObjects Explorer. Explorer allows you to access your data and work with the data in ways that's very simple and easy and allows you to manipulate the data directly without having to pay attention to a lot of complex reporting techniques or dashboarding techniques. So what I'm going to do is go straight into a demo system here. I'm going to launch straight in here. So on my desktop, I'm going to go straight into my Launchpad, and using single sign-on it's going to take me straight in. Now in my applications drop down, you can see that Explorer is one of my options. So I'm going to click Explorer, and Explorer is a separate application that's installed with the system and integrates directly in with the Launchpad, and security is also controlled through the central management console. So the first view that we have here is a listing of all the information spaces that have been previously created, who created them, when they were created, and the last time they were indexed. So you can see a long listing of information spaces that were created here. You also have the ability at the bottom here to upload a local XLS or XLSX file to do immediate exploration of the data contained within that file. But in this case, I'm going to go create a new information space. So I'll go into Manage Spaces, and what this does is this allows me to create a new information space. It gives me a list of available sources here, so you can see that we start off with SAP HANA as a data source. We have Excel spreadsheets, and we also have the new semantic layer UNX files. As of the Service Pack 6 version that we're currently running, UNV files are not supported. That's why we don't see them listed here. So what I'm going to do is scroll down. I'm going to grab the STS Southeast demo. So I'm going to select that. And what it's doing now is Explorer is finding out from the system what exploration or what information spaces I've already created from that exploration view, or from that universe. So you can see that I've got several that have already been created from the STS Southeast demo universe. I can go off and I can use one of these existing ones, or I can create my own. So what I'm going to do is hit New. I'm going to give it a name. So we'll call this STS Demo V2, and then give it a location where I want to save it. So I'm just going to drop it into public folders and into CH. So I want to save it so that other users can access it. And then I'll go to the Objects tab. And the Objects tab is where I can select my objects that I want to explore. And then I can also create new objects. So if I wanted to create a calculated measure or facet group, I can add those as well. And we do introduce a new term here, facets. Facets are essentially your dimensions and your measures. Your dimensions and your details. Then you also have measures and your predefined filters. So if I wanted to add these the facets into the system, I just grab, say, city and drop it in. Customer name, drop that in. And you can see that I'm just randomly dropping it into the white space here in the middle, and it's automatically categorizing it as facets based on the type that it was created. Here I'll go grab gross sales and drop it in, net sales, drop that in, and margin and drop that. Okay, let's go in and grab a couple more facets. Let's go into time. Let's pull in year and quarter. So we'll pull those in. And now that we've got that, I'm going to click the Validate button. The Validate button just checks the objects that we've selected against the universe, and it makes sure that there's no issues, and it says the data definition is correct and does not require further information. Click Finish. Now we've got two other tabs here. Scheduling allows you to schedule the indexes to run on a regular basis. So this determines how fresh the data is that's accessible by the Explorer application. So if you know that your data is refreshed, say, once a month, you may have to refresh it only periodically, say once every 4 weeks or so. If you know your data refreshes every day, you may want to change it to daily. So every day at 7 a.m. you can schedule this to execute, and that'll make sure that your data is refreshed as of 7 o'clock every morning. You can also have it refresh every minute. If you need the latest information, you can have it refresh every minute. But in this case, I know that my data is not refreshing, so I'm just going to turn that off. We can also apply personalization so that when individual users log in, you can control what data the individual users have access to see. So using personalization, we can handle that. So I'm going to click OK here. And so now we've got our STSV2 information space that was created. So now we need to click the Index Now button. And so this is indexing the data, or indexing the information space, so that the information is faster and more easily accessible. So we'll give this a few seconds to run, and you'll notice once it runs, we'll get a configure button with a green check mark, and the green check mark means that it was indexed successfully. So you can see the start date and end date. So it just took a few seconds to run there. Alright, so now that we've done that, I'm going to click the X beside Manage Spaces, and I'm going to close the Manage Spaces, and I'm going to refresh my list. I'm going to scroll down on my listing here and find my STS Demo V2. And so what we're seeing here is we're seeing the visualization within Explorer. So up at the top, we've got a tab that's showing that we're exploring the STS Demo V2 information space. We have a facets view, a split view, and a visualized view. We can also bookmark, share, and export the data. And we can create view sets, and we can locate our data. The next row down here gives us our measures that we selected from the information space. We also have our facets: city, customer name, country, year, year and quarter. And then here at the bottom we have a chart visualization. So Explorer tried to do its best and pull out a visualization that would represent our data in the best way that it knows how. And then we have a tabular view of the data. So what we can do here is we can analyze the data. So if we wanted to analyze the data, say by net sales, you see here that we've got all of our facets now have been recategorized by the total net sales. So with the greatest net sales up at the top, so you can see that Stuttgart is the city with the greatest net sales. The best customer that we've got is Techbobai, followed by Bomdia. And then our best country here is Japan, followed by Northern Europe, then by Germany. Our years, so our best year here appears to be 2008, followed by 9, 10, and then 2007, and then 2011 looks like it was our worst year. So it looks like whenever we if we were to sort this by year, it appears that 2011 was our worst year, then 10, 9, 8, and then 7 was a low year relatively. So it looks like our sales may be decreasing. And then year and quarter, you can see our best year and quarter was 2008 Q4. So we can also go down into our visualization, and we can change our visualizations here. So if we wanted to change, instead of net sales, say that instead of city, we wanted to look at countries. So we can see the top 12 countries. We can of course change this to say, show me the top 4 countries in terms of net sales. So we can see Japan, Northern Europe, Germany, and Brazil. The tabular view of the data also updates to show that information. So we can change the visualization by either clicking on the column chart, which is what we have, or the pie chart. And the pie chart then reorganizes our view into a pie chart, and we can mouse over the individual values here, and you can see that the individual values are shown with the percentages. Also in our tabular view, you can see the colors of the individual countries along with the percentages. So Japan makes up almost 31% of our total pie chart at $222 million. Alright, so if we wanted to start filtering this data out, so say we wanted to just focus on our worst year, 2011, we can do some checking to see now in 2011 who was our best customer, and how does that relate back to the most recent data. So you can see here that I've selected in year, I've selected 2011. So Stuttgart is still our best city, followed by Rio, Mexico, Copenhagen, Prague. And then our best customer here is Wasserheim International. Looks like the most recent best customers for all years is still Bomdia and Techbobai, and so those are still are in our top 3. So we know that those are some of our best customers. We want to make sure we take care of our best customers, and then try to figure out with our other customers how we can make those better customers. Countries have gone to, so Japan, that was before, number 1 has now gone to number 3 for 2011, and then Brazil has taken the top place. So possibly as we move forward in time, Japan will reclaim the top spot depending on how well we handle that region. And then our year and quarter. So in 2011, we had Q1 data that was reported $104 million. So we can also see in a trend. So if you wanted to see how the data looks trending, we can change this from, we can change this back to year. But since we filtered it out just on a single year, now we've just got 2011 there. I can remove that filter, and now we can look at the data from a yearly perspective. So you can see here that the best year here was 2008, the worst year was 2007. So then we can change the view here if we'd like to see the best year by city or the best year by country. So then we can further divide up the data, and you can see that now we've got by year, we can see that our best country was Japan, the worst in 2008 was Thailand, 2009 Japan. So you can see that the year is broken down by individual countries, so that you can see how the breakdown by country plays out with each individual year. And then over in our tabular view, we of course have the same breakdown so that you can see your data. All right. So you also have the ability to do Google type searches. So if you wanted to search for margin for Stuttgart, you can just type in margin for Stuttgart, and it'll highlight the data on your inside of your information space, so that you can just immediately identify the data and then work with that data directly. So the last thing that I wanted to show here was the ability to create what's called view sets or exploration views. Exploration views are sort of like what I like to call ad hoc dashboards. So if you take this view, let me go back and change the subdivision to none, and we'll go create a new view set. So what's happening here is it's taken that view and it's blown it up, and it's now given us a new chart. So I'm going to go over here, and I've got 3 different types of objects that I can drop into my visualization. I can add another chart, I can add a table, I can also add a facet listing. So I'm going to grab a table, and you can see here that I can drop it anywhere top, left, bottom, right of the existing chart. So now we have a table that's showing that data, and our existing chart resizes. I can also go in, grab another chart, and drop that on top. And so now we have a column chart that's representing that same data. I can do the same thing here with a pie chart. So I can drop that in here and change the view to a pie. And then I can resize so that it makes more sense to me. Grab this and resize it. Alright, so there we are. So we have that view. You can explore these individually, so that if you wanted to explore just the pie chart, you can click Explore, and you can play around with the data. You can sort it, you can filter it, and then whenever you're done, you can click Done, and it would go back and give you that same visualization. And just for this, let's change this to a trend, or let's change it back to a pie. That's fine. So we'll take that view. All right. So you can always go back in and look at your facets. So if you wanted to filter out your data for all of your visualizations, so this looks very similar to what we just did for our inside of Explorer, but now instead of one visualization, we have 3 charts, and we also have our standard table, so that we could go in and we could pick Japan, filter all of the values out, or all of the visualizations out just by Japan. We could pick the top customer here, and so in Tokyo, we have our yearly breakdown for Almi Inc. in Japan, and then our best quarter for that customer in that country was 2007 in Q3. So we know that that's been a while, so we may want to figure out what's going on with that customer. We may want to have a quick call with them to determine what their needs are and see how we can serve them better. So I'm going to remove those filters, and I am going to save this view. So I'm going to save this view as STS EV for exploration view. I will drop this out into my folder and click OK. Save successful. So you'll notice that I also have a save as. I can save it as a different name. And then I have this exploration view, so that's the name of this tab. I can add a new exploration view by clicking add new exploration view. I can also minimize my views by clicking this button, and that'll take away the sidebar, and I can remove my facets if I'm only interested in analyzing my data. So now I can analyze my data. I can click the plus and say city, and just take Stuttgart, and I'll filter that data out, and I can continue adding more and more values, and then click save once I'm done. So now with the exploration views, I can also close this, and then of course with the STS Demo v2, if I wanted to share this out, I can click share this view by email, and I can send that out in an email address. If I had Outlook set up on this machine, it would just embed a visualization of that this exploration, or this view. So I can also export the data by clicking the export button, and it's asking me how do I want to export it. Do I want to export the data? I can export the entire data set filtered, or I can export the data represented within the visualization and legend, which of course is 4 rows. I can export all the data as Excel. Web Intelligence, so I can create a Webby report from this. I can also export the visualization as an image so that I can embed this inside of an email or inside of a presentation. So with that said, I can close this and go back to my original view. I can close out of Explorer, and yes, I want to navigate away. I can go into my documents, and I'll go into my public folders now. Open this up, go into CH, and you can see that I've got my STS EV, so that was my view that I just created. I've got STS Demo v2, so that's an information space that I created, and I can always double click right from where I am and launch back into those views. So now I can go in and do my analysis again, and it's just very quick and easy to change my filters, change my views. So if I wanted to analyze this even further, then I could save this off into a public folder and share this out so that other users have access to it. So I'm going to click log off. And that concludes our demo of Explorer with exploration views. So if, let me put up some contact information here. If you'd like to get in contact with me, again, my name is Chris Hickman. My email address is chris.hickman@decisionfirst.com. You can find me on Twitter at @chickman72.